Hey everyone, it's me, Andrew969 here, and today I will be reviewing Saints Row the 3rd Remastered. Now before I get started with this review, I want to let you guys know about the future of my channel. If you're not interested in this stuff, then you can check the timestamp in the description. So as you know, if you watch my videos, I've started a Saints Row the 3rd Remastered Let's Play. The first one did very well, the second one didn't do so well. Thinking of completing the series, but still doing some videos in between, like Borderlands pre-sequel, Resident Evil 3 Remake, and this review. Anyway, let's get straight into the review. Saints Row the 3rd Remastered is the third entry in the Saints Row series. It is known as the best by some, because of the fact that it has its identity while still having one foot planted in the ground. Saints Row 2 had some funny moments, but still was pretty realistic. Saints Row 4 was all over the top and was not at all realistic. Saints Row the 3rd is a good in-between. Lots of people like it, but some people don't like it and like Saints Row 2 instead. Personally, I think that it helps give itself its identity and makes it not so much like GTA 5. Saints Row 3 is just mindless fun. It is funny, it is enjoyable, and it is great. You have a fun time shooting everyone, you have a fun time jumping out of helicopters, listening to Kanye West's Power. There's a lot of fun stuff. And also you can customize your characters. With character customization, you can make a male, a female. You can customize anything. You can customize every part of your character. You can make it a zombie voice or just Troy Baker. Now, you can't exactly understand the zombie voice, and it's not very story oriented, mainly because you don't understand what the boss is saying, but you can do it, and it's good for laughs. Just, it's recommended to do it after you played the game before, so you can actually know what's happening and going on. I personally go with Troy Baker because I'm American, and I'm trying to make my character the most like me. And luckily, when you create a character, you're not stuck with this character. Yeah, you have to pay $400 to redesign the character, but you can still redesign them. Like, if you accidentally make a mistake, you can actually go back to a plastic surgery shop and actually get redone. Now, after I played, I changed a little bit of the character, but that was right after I finished the story, so it really didn't matter, because I didn't know about it before. But when I knew about it, I was so far in the story, I was like, I'm just gonna complete it, and then I'll change it. If you wanna make it so you have more health and less damage taken from you, you can do that. If you wanna have all cars have nitro, you can do that. You can customize every aspect of the game. You can customize the gangs. There's a lot of customization, and that's good. That even adds replay value with the choices. The choices don't really affect the story except for the last one, but the fourth entry basically only makes one ending canon, which is the good ending for all intents and purposes. But you can just replay the last mission at the end after you finish it, so it doesn't have all replay value, but it adds more replay value, so you don't get the exact same cutscene every time you play. The characters are very enjoyable. There are a lot of story beats. You really don't know what happens next in the story. It's all over the place. I mean that in a good way. And even though it does have one foot planted in reality, there's still one foot not quite planted in reality, so you go from shooting big guys who are cloned to killing all zombies. Personally, I would like it a little more realistic. Not much more, like this is more nitpicking than anything, but if it was just a little more realistic, basically just take out the zombies. It's right there, perfect. It can't quite happen, but it's so realistic, it's almost like it could happen. But zombies, I feel like those are just the slightest bit too far. Yeah. I just think that they should have had very slightly more. Nothing like Saints Row 2, just the slightest bit more realistic. But that's so nitpicky, it really doesn't matter. I really do think that it was a good balance between Saints Row 2 and 4. I really think that's where it's hit its best point. And the boss battles, they're excellent. Some are in a wrestling ring, others are in the whole cyberspace. They're really cool and really unique. I really think that the boss battles and jumping out of the helicopter listening to Kanye West's Power are the high point of the game. Really, this game really does have high points. Now, in the middle, it sort of slows down a little bit. You have to play side missions. Those aren't quite as interesting as actual story missions. You can tell when they're side missions, but it does not deteriorate from the whole other experience. The beginning and end is the strongest. The middle, when there's actual story missions, is very good. But when there's side missions, you notice it, and it's not as good. I mean, they're not bad by any means. Insurance Fraud is pretty good, but it's not story missions. And some of the parts are dated. I've heard that when you're using a controller, like, the shooting's dated. Now, I used a keyboard and mouse, so I didn't really notice anything with the shooting. I was going to use a controller because you were driving, but there's a weird glitch where PS4 controllers have up as down and down as up when you play the game, and I didn't want to have to bother with anything because I don't have an Xbox controller anyway. So I just ended up using a keyboard and mouse, and the shooting was great. The driving actually wasn't hard. I thought it would be. It was a little hard, and then I realized that you could quick steer with the space bar barn, and that basically made it easy. And what I like, because most open world games don't actually have difficulty options, you actually can choose difficulty. I noticed that this game and Far Cry 5 do, and I think that's good on them for bothering to put difficulty options in. Some people who have a hard time shooting can play on easy, other times you're like, this is easy, can play on hard. I played on normal. It wasn't too hard. It wasn't too easy either. And Saints Row the 3rd Remastered, they have lots of fun, wacky stuff. You get Burt Reynolds as a mayor, you get Angel, who's played by Hulk Hogan, to actually go fighting, and then he's rival with the main bad guy, and like you really don't know what happens in that. And most importantly, since it's a remaster, there's a graphical overhaul. It doesn't look like a new game, but it could very well pass for an early Xbox One PS4 game, because it looks better than a PS3, Xbox 360 game. It looks different and better than the original. You can notice it. The character models, the gun models, it looks newer. When you play this game, you can't go back to the original. They put a lot of effort into it. Before I finish this review, I have one last criticism. Personally, I feel like the game's a little too short. The missions were excellent. I'd love it if they had more of them, but it's just that the game itself isn't that long. It's not like super short, but it was such a good time that I just wish it could last about as long as Saints Row 2. Anyway, I rate this game an 8 out of 10. It is dated in some spots, it could have been longer, and the side missions aren't as interesting, but it looks beautiful, the story is excellent, and it is a great balance between fantasy and reality. It gets itself away from GTA 5 without being completely science fiction like Saints Row 4. I personally recommend you buy the game. Remember to like if you like this video, subscribe if you like my content, have a wonderful day, and goodbye.